Well, that brings us back to the song Nutty, done by the Ventures way back in Channel 38 days when it was UHF, and we were watching the Boston Bruins with Bobby Orr and all the like. My name is Bob McKean. I'm truly honored and humbled to be here this afternoon to welcome you to this day at Stanley Park. And this all started because we get an awful lot of emails from our counterpart at Stanley Park in Vancouver. Vancouver is named, their park is named after Lord Stanley. So it was ironic that we beat him anyway. And what happened is that we get a lot of emails that want to stay at our hotels here. Of course, I don't know how many of you stayed at our hotel here at Westfield, but on the park, and our restaurants on the park and all the other things. And so we knew that wasn't us. And so we became very good friends with our colleagues out there in Vancouver. And the best part about all of this, not only because we won the Stanley Cup, but also the friendships we all made out there in Vancouver. So from our friends in Vancouver, they've asked me to read this. From the other Stanley Park, when we accepted the international hockey wager from Stanley Park of Westfield, Mass. Last May, we knew that bragging rights and one park bench were on the line. The Vancouver Canucks did not win the Stanley Cup yet, but we came away winners from this spirited face-off, gaining new friends across the border. Please enjoy the bench that we donated to your beautiful park. We look forward to a new successful season from our home team, and who knows, maybe another friendly bet in next year's playoff. Malcolm Bromley, General Manager, Stanley Park, Vancouver, British Columbia. Quite a few people on our staff put this together. Amy Lesperance was one of them, and she's at the Jets game today, so she's not here. But all the other staff that had something to do with putting this together, we thank them. I could not do it alone. They are my fellow colleagues, and believe me, I may be the manager, but only the bus driver here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Bo Sullivan, who's going to take over MC duties as while we're here, and I want to thank each and every one of the staff, including the Rangers and Jack Godfrey, who helped us. He's a resident Ranger, but he's also a hockey nut. Bo?
Welcome in. Thank you, Bob. I would like to have one more round of applause for Bob, because how this all started, Bob got a hold of me, actually, and I know he talked to Pat from the Westfield News about setting up this little wager for the park bench. And I had Bob and I had Malcolm on the air right before the Stanley Cup Finals started. And they made the wager, and we're hoping that they could go to each other's parks. The loser would come to the winner's park. Obviously, that's kind of tough when you're in Vancouver and have to come all the way out to Westfield. Now, I have had a bunch of people ask about the cup itself. Woo! You got to know the logistics of the Stanley Cup and how the NHL handles it. This was certainly not by a lack of effort from Bob McKean. Pat Barry, I know, wrote a nice article to the Bruins and everybody. There was only a certain amount of days you can have the cup and a certain amount of players. You get to have it for a day and everything else that goes on with the Bruins. So certainly not by a lack of effort from Bob's part and everybody else here at Stanley Park. But we have a great setup for you anyways today. And that's where I come in to thank and introduce some of these guys. First, I need to thank and introduce Carrie Collins, who is the Director of Community Relations for the Bruins. We need to thank her for putting this all together. And making sure that this was pulled off, and I think she gets to credit for all the weather that we're having today too. Also, we need to thank Eric and Matt from the Bruins, who helped out or helping out with all the logistics today too. Also, we need to thank Blades for showing up. And of course, where would we be without Lauren and Lauren? We will hear from Lyndon in a second, and I think they played that song for you, Lyndon, not for Bobby or anybody else. A couple people that we need to thank for putting this on today. I've mentioned them already. Pat Barry from the Westfield Evening News helped sponsor this event today, and we certainly thank Pat and welcome him back to the city of Westfield. It's fun introducing Pat since I went to school with him, and he's back in Westfield. And also, Jay Passerini from Bertelli Skate Shop is also one of the major sponsors here today, so we thank Jay and everybody who works over at Bertelli's. Now, I think you guys are going to actually sit on the bench, if you can, and Lyndon's actually going to sit. You can stand behind and make here a few remarks for us. Former Bruins player. Oh, before I do that, make sure you get your raffle ticket. There's a free raffle ticket floating around out there. There's a couple people handing them out. There's a stick signed by, if not all, most of the players from the team from last year. There's a couple autographed pictures there too. There's free ice cream over here too, so make sure you get that raffle ticket and your chance to win it. Former Bruins player, welcome back to Westfield, because I know you've been here before. You've actually graced your presence on the Amelia Park ice rink a couple times with the cops and firemen. Lyndon Byers.
Thanks, Bo. I'll take my position behind the star today, Blades, and the girls. These guys are Stanley Cup champions. I'm just a fan. I want to thank everybody for having me and the Bruins and Blades and the girls here today. Just for the record, there's a lot of young people out here that probably have no idea who I am. So my name is Lyndon Byers. I wore number 34. I was very lucky to play on some very good teams with guys that you do know. And that would be Ray Bork, Cam Neely, Andy Moog, and so on and so on. Moms, dads, well, more importantly, dads, you can YouTube Lyndon Byers. Moms, don't be in the room, because you'll see 35 fights when I played for the Bruins. So, yes, I was the tough guy for the Bruins for a long time with my idol, Jay Miller, and it was always nice because Jay always fought the tougher guy. But like I always say to my mom, to the moms, I know you would be proud if your son ended up being the meathead for the Boston Bruins. Okay? So it's all good. I'm also from Vancouver. I'm from Nipawin, Saskatchewan, about 10 hours north of Bismarck, North Dakota, way up there in Canada. And I migrated west, so I'm actually from Vancouver. I have spent many days in Stanley Park in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. My parents are retired. I actually own a pub on Vancouver Island, pub in 11 acres of land, which my dad, Big Vern, and my mom, Janny, are back, and they run that, and it's a great little spot. I'm lucky enough to have been able to retire in Boston. I love Massachusetts. I especially love Bruins fans. You guys are the greatest fans on the planet, and you showed that last year. Well, you showed each and every year. And, you know, I can't tell you enough how much it meant to me when I played, meant to my teammates when I played. You help us, you carry us, and there were many times I was getting my lights punched out because you were standing up cheering. I came back and won the fight. So I was never knocked out, and I only bled twice. Kenny Baumgartner cut me under my right eye, 3 stitches. He cut me for the first time, and then he opened up the same cut the second time I fought him. So that's the only time I bled in 13 years as well. I did have my nose broke. I have a couple hundred stitches in my face. It's all good. But that was all not due to fighting. That was due to the game. So I guess we're going to be signing autographs, taking some pictures. This day is for you here in Westfield. You have your own Stanley Park. You have your own Bruins Day. I want to thank Kerry Collins and all the Bruins. There's so much going on. And you know, again, I want to reiterate what Bo was saying about the Stanley Cup. Yesterday, Dunkin' Donuts had the Stanley Cup was at the Boston Garden for 2 events yesterday in a matter of 3 hours. Dunkin' Donuts got all of the pro sport trophies together in one place for the first time for people to ever take a picture with 4 trophies. And before that, AT&T had the Stanley Cup. So it's not due to lack of, you have to understand, people try so hard to get the amazing Lord Stanley's Cup everywhere for everything. And again, I just want to say, I know Stanley Park here must have tried very hard, but there's a million people that want the cup everywhere. So I apologize that the cup couldn't be here. Instead of the cup, you get a Fat X Bruin, and I will sign each and every piece of Bruins memorabilia that you want me to sign, and we'll take pictures, and we'll have a great day. And it's very cool, isn't it, to be able to say, we are the Stanley Cup champions. Took a long time. So everybody have a great day today. And again, I can't thank you enough for staying enough. Please enjoy Stanley Park. It's a beautiful place. And thank you for being the greatest fans on the planet. And tune in to WAF. I do morning drive radio.
I do WHYN morning drive radio. Don't you guys move. We need pictures of you standing here. All right. The autographs, the yellow tables.